Great.
Welcome to the green room, everyone.
Welcome to the green room, everybody. So Lennie will touch just now on exactly what the green room is. Obviously, just as a brief introduction, my business partner Lennie and myself, Trevor, are very excited to host these webinars. So who are we? We are in the Induku Group, and we have partnered with the internationally acclaimed Visa Solutions, who have piloted a project called Live Your Dream. Now, Live Your Dream, what that means is for you, if you're a professional and you are looking to move across to America and live your dream in America, and then you're interested in pursuing this American dream of yours, that we can help you get there. And how we do that is we do what we call an EB3, or an employment-based permanent visa, which is a permanent residency visa, also known to many people as the green card. So we're very excited about this program. Today's webinar that Lennie's just going to mention in terms of what we do in terms of a green room, but it's very much for our 100+ applicants that are currently in the program with us. That is on the Live Your Dream side. As part of the Visa Solutions program, there are in addition about 1,340 odd truck drivers as well in the program. And it's very, very exciting to be part of the Visa Solutions family and being one of their partners. And the Induku Group has got the recruitment agency, or the consulting agency for sub-Saharan Africa, as well as the United Kingdom. So we're quite excited about that. So Len, do you want to just quickly share with everybody what our green room represents and what we're going to be doing in the green room?
Yeah, sure. Yeah, guys, like Trevor said, this is a concept that we've started, out of all the questions that we do get asked, even from our applicants, which is obviously our biggest concern, and also just to educate people that are looking for information on immigration. So there's obviously immigrating to any part of the world will require certain documentation. It will require certain understanding about financial immigration. It'll get an understanding about relocation, and all these things are relevant topics for people that have decided, listen, immigration is for me. So those are the topics that we are going to be covering over our webinars over the periods. And we are very, very excited for this because, there's not a lot of content out like this, so we are excited to educate you and also to help you in your process and have your whole, no matter where you immigrate, if you use our program or not, so we want to see people immigrate successfully. We want people to have as much information as possible. And so therefore we have created this green room concept where we will be twice a week, come on board, cover various of these topics. And we also ask that you would, put your questions towards us. If there is a topic that you want us to cover, please respond to this webinar, come join us live or watch it later on, and give us the topics and the questions that you on your heart, and hopefully we can bear that in mind or stay out for this. And these are all things that we will be touching on obviously, and over the course over the period, the next couple of weeks, is that obviously our program is an amazing program, and we do really want to make people aware of what is out there. We don't just want people to be bottled down in an understanding of what immigration is. Is it just an L1 visa, or is it an H2B visa, or what other options are there that I can follow that is best suited for me? So therefore, on that, please check out our website. It's www.indukugroup.co.za, or leave your contact details so that we can get in touch with you, so we can give you a high-level understanding of what we do and to see if this is something that you want to cover. So on the back of that, today's topic is related to what we have posted earlier today. Trevor said, to the 100-odd applicants we've got in our program at the moment, this will also be knowledgeable for the people out there that are thinking of immigration or in an immigration process on some other process going to America. So the topic that we are covering today is what is on everyone's mind, is the COVID-19 and the impact it's having on various things. So obviously the applicants that are in our program at the moment, it is important for us to speak to them. And we have been faced with this question a lot lately, and is what are going to be the implications for my process going forward, and delays, if there are any delays, what do they look like, so that I can account for the so on the back of that, I'm going to ask Trevor just to roughly talk some of these. Having a bit of luck with technology at the moment. Let's give him a moment. You back?
Can you hear me? All right, guys, seems like there's a little bit of a lag in terms of signal at the moment. I'm hoping that you guys can hear and that we can continue with the green room. Man, I think that none of us thought that we'd be in this position, and that we'd be doing some of the stuff from our offices at home and the likes. So yes, as Lennie mentioned to you, the COVID-19, how does this affect my immigration process? And many of you have already read the newsletter that we've published with regards to this. But I wanted to just take this time, and Lennie and I were discussing it this morning, and just unpack it a little bit more for you, so that you just really in a state of mind of having comfort that your process is still happening and everything is still going forward as per normal. So let's just take a couple of steps into play here. Obviously, because we do an EB3, which is a permanent-based, employment-based visa, the Department of Labor approval is the most critical stage to what our process is. And the Department of Labor is very much still busy working. They are obviously based in America, but they are currently working. Last night, we actually got 43 Department of Labor approvals. And when I speak about Department of Labor approvals, it's not just for the Live Your Dream program. It's obviously from the Visa Solutions head office side. So we're still getting Department of Labor approvals as we speak. So for you that are in the Department of Labor stage right now, in terms of your process, this stage takes between so we've managed in certain circumstances 42 to 43 days. We've gotten a Department of Labor approval, but it can also take up to 6 months. So if you are currently in that stage of your process, immigration process, you've got no concerns whatsoever. That is still continuing, and the Department of Labor approvals are coming through, and we've had no delays whatsoever from that perspective in terms of COVID-19. So what we suggest to you is, obviously at this stage, it becomes very critical to make sure that your documentation is in play, and we'll speak next week on the documentation that is required for immigration, which is relative to wherever you're going to immigrate, not just to the United States of America. But it's now critical for those documents that are required for immigration to obviously be ready. And then in terms of the people in our program, we've got what we call the DS-260. Now that document is needed to be filled out by each of you or each one of your family members, no matter if they're children or obviously just under 18 or up to the age of 21 can be falling under your application if you're a main applicant. So kindly start getting your DS-260 forms completed for us, and obviously make sure that your documentation is correct and what it needs to be. And obviously with COVID-19, we do have a situation with Home Affairs. We're fully aware of that. We are mindful of these things, as well as obviously the immigration authorities. So don't stress too much about that. People are realistic about the time frames and about what's happening in the world currently. So if you still haven't received an unabridged birth certificate, we know why, and we understand what needs to be done around this. Okay, so the step after Department of Labor approval, which we've now covered, would obviously be the United States Citizen Immigration Services, which is really immigration. So when we're talking about the people at the immigration stage, this is also, once again, no hiccups. This process is continuing, and at that process, they will make sure that the Department of Labor has done what they were supposed to do in terms of their approval. And they'll obviously go through the documentation which has been provided and gone through by our legal team and submitted. So we're talking now about your immigration documentation and the DS-260 forms that we require from you once we take you through the steps of the Department of Labor. So once again, at this stage, nothing to be concerned about, nothing to worry about. That process is happening. And then what happens is United States Citizen Immigration Services will formalize your next step, which would then be to take you through to the National Visa Center. So even for applicants that are at this stage, we are still currently receiving welcome letters from the National Visa Center. So in all three of these steps that I've just mentioned to you now, I'm happy to report no delays whatsoever. The COVID-19 hasn't stopped that. And the processes are running quite smoothly when we take into mind what has happened. There's been many changes from Department of Labor to USCIS, for example, that your documents that might be needed to be signed can now going forward be signed electronically, so you don't have to physically sign the document that we need to get in terms of if it was getting couriered to us or the likes. So there's a couple of steps that they've been adapted, obviously because of the COVID-19, and maybe going forward it will also help streamline certain processes. But once again, it doesn't delay your process in any way or form. So Lennie, I think maybe if you want to touch on after you've gotten a National Visa Center welcome letter, I think that's quite important, specifically with the messages that has been received from consulate stage.
Yeah. Okay. So this is a delay that came through before COVID-19 pandemic hit the world. So every year, America works in a fiscal year which runs from the 1st of October to the end of September. So every year, the National Visa Center issues a certain amount of different EB visas, which are obviously, as Trevor said, green cards. So they issue around about 41,000 EB3 green cards per year. So if we go one step back to 2019, all those visas got allocated before the fiscal year was up, which is like a month, 2 months before the end of September. So what that means is that if you look on the certain website, this is a website that we watch very, very closely, is to see what always the status is of these visas. So what it means is that the status, if the status means it is current, means that there are still visas available for issue. But when these visas go into retrogression, that means that there are no further EB3s to be issued for people. So as I said, this was news that was brought to us before the COVID-19. So this is not something that is really of a concern of a process going forward. But what it means for our applicants, first of all, it does not affect your current process. So if you are on Department of Labor or at USCIS at the moment, you will go through all these steps as per explained in the face-to-face meetings we had with you. All right. So for people that have got Department of Labor approvals at the moment, they will go to USCIS and they will get to National Visa Center and get their welcome letter. All that means is that they will get to a stage, if you can imagine, they are going to get to the gate before all these new visas are going to be issued. So at the 1st of October, hopefully by that stage, we would get most of our applicants up to that level where the National Visa Center will be allocating consulate interviews to our applicants. And we still see, obviously, this as not much of a delay, but once we get to that process and we have a lot more clarity, we will then give the information as we get it for you as well. So just also to cover a few more questions that you guys have. I hope this has been informative for you. We do get asked these questions often, and you know, so there are two more questions that hopefully we can also address for you. These are things that we have got recently. The questions we had is Induku still open? So yes, we are still open. We have been fortunate enough to be in a space where we can utilize technology for our benefit. We can still conduct interviews virtually, and we can still process all applications as normal. We can still take phone calls. We are still actively recruiting. We are still talking to people on a daily basis. And as Trevor said, we will, in the next couple of webinars, we will give you some more insight and more in-depth knowledge about what we do, the companies we employ for, more details around what you can expect in the process as well, for people obviously not in the program. So the other question we have here, maybe Trevor, you can elaborate on that one, is that, what is the other question? It says, can I delay my payments for a few months as I enter maybe this process at the moment?
Yeah, so look, obviously, I think that everybody, and I think we must maybe try also load the discussion that Lennie did for us, a webinar where he spoke on the US dollar and the implications. I mean, in South Africa currently, we're faced with many challenges, and one of those challenges is the exchange rate when we're speaking about it versus the dollar, where today and yesterday, I mean, it's been moving between an 18.2 and an 18.7. It's quite a shock to the system. So, in terms of payments and delays on payments, there's certain steps in the process where payments would need to be made, and we don't want to delay the process outside of certain timeframes. So I think the honest answer here, Lennie, is that we need to look at each person's case individually and see where they are at in terms of the process. We're obviously mindful of the fact that the rand dollar is a heck of a situation right now. So I think that for each person, I think if you're at the Department of Labor stage at the moment, if you're going to delay your process or your payment per se by 2 or 3 weeks, it's not going to have an impact. If you further down the line and we're waiting to submit to USCIS, there would be certain very, very big payments that needs to be made by Visa Solutions. So those next steps won't be activated until such a time as your payments are caught up to date. So I think we're still very mindful. Lennie and I are obviously in the same boat as everybody else. So what we do is we certainly make sure that we understand the exact parameters for yourself, where you are at in terms of your timelines in the program. And what we'll do is we'll guide you properly on that. And that's our heart. We want to make sure that during this process of immigration, that whether it be with regards to the financial side, whether it be about questions about can you take your rifles or your dogs or anything like that, we're just going to be mindful about it. And yes, it is an immigration process. It's something that is very real to all of us. And what we need to understand is that for each family that is entering this, although there will be a lot of common denominators, many families have got different circumstances. Lennie and I have had 1 or 2 people that have contacted me today where they're very worried about both household incomes not being there during this COVID-19 stage. And we need to be realistic about the challenges that are out there. So I think what we would do there is most certainly understand where our applicants are. They're part of our families now already. So what we'll do is we'll guide as best we can and not delay processes where possible. And yes, I think let's handle those ones on individual basis.
Yeah.
But in general, I think that the reality is that we understand what is happening, and I think that there might be a delay for everybody of between 3 and 4 weeks. And I think that's all workable. That's all workable. Yeah. Anything outside of that, I suggest the guys get hold of us personally.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So I mean, and going forward, like we said, guys, this webinar and this platform just shows you that we are accessible. We are want to be vulnerable and open with our whole conversation and everything we go through. So what we do is that when we do get news that are affecting our applicants or our program, we will disclose all these things to you as openly and honestly as obviously as it comes to us. So feel free to give us a call, schedule a call with us, see what we're about, see what our program is about. If this is something that you have considered moving to America, obviously that is our big focus, and our program is relocating and getting people a green card for America. If that is something that you have considered, or something that you feel in your heart could be something that you want to do, the COVID thing is not going to last forever, so we do want to just put out there what is available in the market. So we are in the process of relocating a lot of people, and we want to share this with the world. We want to share this program with as many people as possible. So thank you for sharing your time with us today. Thank you for taking your time and listening to us. Like I said, if there's anything else you want us to cover, please do leave comments or visit our website, as we said, and we will be in